This is the final game of a best of 3 in the lower bracket of the Last Chance Asia qualifiers. Pretty big deal. The bottom right, he's the blue Zerg Dark for Team DPG. And the top left has the red Terran for Kaizi Gaming. He is Time. And he is playing pretty well today. I don't know what the first game looked like, but he even brought Dark to a pretty late macro game for game 2. Dark still won out. Just too powerful a position. 6 bases, lurkers, all that type of stuff. But Time has played a couple of late games versus Zerg recently. They've actually looked fairly intimidating. Not quite won with them, though, to be fair. But still, intimidating. And he does take a game off of Dark, as I still think is impressive. Dark has shown a bit of a... weakness is a strong word to use when it comes to this matchup. I mean, I think the memes made after his performance against TY were quite funny. You know, spoiler alert for the Super Tournament and all that, but there was a meme where it was like the car show or whatever, where it's like, this is beautiful, but I like this. It was like a World Championship Cup, where it's like, this is beautiful, that the I like this was Roach Ravager from Dark. It does seem to be something that is, in a way, holding him back, but again, it's never that simple. You know, he does very well with it, much better than other Zergs do with the style, using it over and over and over again. Most Zergs keep Roach Ravager to just the maps that are good for a 1-1 Roach all-in. And Dark is like, no, I'm gonna do it every map, no matter what. Sometimes I'll do the all-in, sometimes not. And then I'll go into lurkers afterwards. And it does give him the potential for going into late game lurkers, which are scary, no matter who's in control of them. But the point up to that, the Roach game, and just the Roach Ravager game, is like, it's not as intimidating as someone who's very good with Ling Bane, Ling Muta. You know, if Dark could transfer his skill and his ability to be one of the few who could actually use Roach Ravager well versus Terran and put that all into Muta Ling Bane Ling, I feel like he would be the best TvZer ever, right? But he really likes Roach Ravager, so I don't know. I don't know. Is he trying to prove a point? Does he have terrible Muta control and he's trying to cover it? He's ashamed of it? I don't think so. But for some reason he likes it. And that makes him, in a way, a one-dimensional player, but the Roachborn does kind of activate a lot of potential in terms of like when it can be used. So a macro sense, a 1-1 all-in sense, a Roach Ravager all-in, a Ling Bane Ling Ravager all-in could probably still come out of it. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things you have to worry about when you're facing Dark, but if it is a standard Roach game, Roaches are very easy to size up. They're far easier than Ling Bane Ling, where it's a little more explosive, a lot faster action as well. Something just happens, and you either picked up the units or you didn't. You get hit by Banelings. Roach is a little less, they're literally not explosive. They're consistent damage, so medevacs are so good against them. But anywho, that's the weaknesses of the Roach style. It doesn't mean that he is weak to Terran, but there are some weaknesses to the style. Time, I think at this point, game 3 in, having probably watched Dark's games a couple of times here and there, knows about the Roach potential, is this time around, at the very least, guessing no Roach all-in. So, pretty greedy build, 3cc into 211. So that's without anything being built from the factory. If you built a tank, then it'd be like, it's still pretty greedy, but still there's a safety to it. Now, this is pretty much the greediest you can get. The Marine count eventually gets quite large, and that is in itself intimidating. But until that point, you're a little scared. Like Dark going for a lair and only 3 Roaches, 4, I guess now, it's not going to be an attack. And Time is going to be able to do his 2-on-1 after propelling himself to a 3rd base. Oh, also going for Hellbats. Now, this is really weird. Now, granted, I didn't watch the first 2 games. I saw the last few minutes of the last game, where it seemed like he went for a Roach into Lurker build, but I could just be guessing off of his previous series. To go for a Hellbat attack against a guy who's known for Roaches just doesn't seem like it's that great of an idea, no matter how clever it is or how off timing it is. You know, if this is off a 3rd base, it's not the very, very, very quick 2 base hellbent attack? I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, if you catch someone without any army units, then an attack will work. That is true. That's how Starcraft works. But with Dark having a lot of creep spread, I feel like he can see this coming and can produce roaches. So I don't know what's going to be clever about this. Another mule goes down. Doesn't look like anything's really clever about it. I think Time... I don't know what he's supposed to do with this. He only built 2 Hellions as well. Did he not know it was going to be roaches? Even if he didn't scout them. So what? Wait, what? The Hellions themselves, I am not, like, that surprised by. We see some Hellions produced as, like... And well, even then... No, you know what? You know what? I am surprised by any amount of Hellions. It's one thing to get a couple of Hellions in case they have those Lings actually be the primary source of their fighting power, and they try and get more run-bys, and you're like, okay, Hellions will help cover me while my Marine count's still low, while I still don't have combat shields. Fair enough! But still, this guy's known for his roaches. I don't know. And then on top of that, you get an armory first, but you only build 2 Hellions? I don't know, something went wrong here. Time still has the 3rd CC, still has drop potential, so it's not like it's game over, but it definitely, something was weird there. Something was miscalculated, and I couldn't tell you what, probably had to do with the first 2 games. So he could have had a stronger build, faster upgrades, perhaps more tank production as well, a 2nd tank instead of only on 1, for instance. But he doesn't. He can still play the rest of the game out, but Dark has gotten away with 3 bases, 4th on the way. It's actually not that much of an economy for a Zerg player, really, but he's also gotten away with Infestation Pit. He's already on his way up to Hive. He is working his way up to a lot of technology, and his fighting power is a little bit harder to guess now that an Infestor is included, right? The Fungal could really change things up. Is it just me, or is that Infestor really huge? Am I just freaking out right now? It just seems like a bigger Infestor than usual. Anyways, doesn't matter. Fungal is quite good, but the split there to at least make this worthwhile was also pretty darn good. Time with a very, very, very injured army. I don't think should be continuing this fight. Oh my god, and the Corrosive Biles hit the Medivacs and the tank. Oh no. I mean, Time is already over in that. Like, he over pushed, right? His Marines were severely injured. He was lucky he didn't die to that Fungal. For him to continue pushing was already too much. But then his plan was to obviously take what he could and get out with the Medivacs. Didn't happen when the Medivacs got hit by a Corrosive Bile. Devastating, a true loss of momentum for the Terran. And Time now has to play to kind of a turtle late game scenario. Not the best game that Time could have had. Not at all. 4th Command Center is on the way, and he's got a drop trying to clear up creep, but Dark's already on Hive Tech, and now is boosting his economy as well. 4 bases, 71 drones. Gonna have Lurker Tech soon. Time is gonna have to play a very good defensive turtle game. Very, very good. And I know he's capable of playing a pretty good late game turtle. This is such a bad position for him to be in. I don't know, man. I don't know. IDK about this one. Time might have gotten 1 game against Dark, but it doesn't look like he's gonna grab 2. There is only 1 qualifier per region, by the way. There is no 2nd chance, no 3rd chance. Your 2nd chance was getting sent to the lower bracket. Time would love some more EPT points. So would Dark, though. Dark wants to make sure that he's in the, usually what would be the 2nd round, you know, and when we go to Katowice, it's usually the first weekend's kind of like the open bracket, and a longer process. Of course, you're playing more games, you're risking your time in the tournament a little bit more the farther back you are in that bracket. And then we go to the 2nd weekend, which is the, usually the day we go to a stadium, you know, back before all this shit happened, and then you get all the players who were either invited based off of results, qualifiers, whatever, or, yeah, people come into the qualifiers and do very well at that as well. So, yeah, Dark wants to kind of bump himself up to the latter half of Katowice without having to play the first half. That would be brilliant. And needs, in order to do that, needs more EPT points, which is probably why he's playing in the TSL. And Wardy talked a bit about it. That's my guess. Wardy agreed. With our forces combined, I guess we're right. Well, I've been rambling. Time has been setting up his 4th base, fully saturated, planetary, 5th and 6th on the way. A little bit of SimCity to work with as well. He's getting to that point where, you know, after about 180 supply, I think any fight can go okay. But obviously, depending on the composition, some are going to be better than others. And you really do want to be maxed out if your opponent's also maxed out. So Time's not quite there yet, but he is probably intentionally not maxing out. He is waiting to produce more of what he really wants as opposed to just filling with fodder, it looks like. So command centers coming down, tanks, ghosts, and then some marines. Lots of stack defense. That's where a lot of his minerals are going into. Romanostatus give us a lot of late game. He played a particularly good late game ZVT, TvZ for him, against Solar like last week for the TSL no. It was this qualifier? Might have been TSL qualifier. It was TSL qualifier. Anyways, point is, he was doing a pretty good job of it. But eventually Solar found pathways to take out tanks, to take out ghosts, and eventually won out. Dark also loving his Nidus Worms. As soon as one Nidus Worm gets popped up on that production, Lurkers will enter through, and it's going to be really, really tough to dislodge that. Time with a really good setup. He's got walls, he's got tanks, he's got planetaries. He's going to have drilling claws, 3-3-2. There's one thing that I think he might have learned from facing Solar in like a 30-minute game on this map. It's that Widow Mines would have been a bit more helpful than more tanks. He had a lot of tanks. They were very well spread. But occasionally Solar would be able to run in with mostly Ling. Not even Ling Banley, just mostly Lings. And actually take down tanks and take down ghosts. Ghosts don't do terrible against Lings, but obviously you can get a lot more Lings than you can usually get ghosts. So that kind of was a weak point where I think that if there were a couple of Widow Mines guarding, that would have been a little bit better. I would like to see some, but I do recall that last time I said that he got Drilling Claws and it did not get any Widow Mines, so we'll see if he makes any. A couple of Cyclones seems a bit odd too, maybe just for anti-Nidus defense, I'm not sure. Rarely see that as a mistake, and hotkeys aren't really close to each other. Nidus Storm is found out. I guess it was going to be a reinforcement Nidus Storm to the bottom left. I guess more peace of mind. You hear the sound, you're like, where the hell is it? Time pushed back is just on mostly Marines, but even as this game goes on, I think he's going to be turning into mostly tank ghost liberator, so even less on the Marines, but, you know, no Marauders. Only a couple of medevacs needed since he's not really stimming all over the place and picking up and dropping. So 6 medevacs does the trick and then goes into Liberators. More SAG defense, getting the extra upgrades for the building. High sec auto tracking as well as building armor, which I think actually has a... I mean, what is it? What is building armor actually called, guys? Is it actually building armor? It's not Neo Steel frames. That was the bunker upgrade. Reinforced plating? Maybe that's it. Total guess, though. Total guess. Someone's gonna tell me. By the way, while Time has been building up this amazing static defense, turtle game, Dark has also been expanding and creep spreading and really running out of control. Time's doing all well. Look at the minimap, right? Time's like, look at me, I got 5 bases, I'm great. And then Dark's just like, well, I'm gonna take the rest of the map, alright? That's cool with you? That's cool with you. Alright, cool. Good finding some lurkers, not properly protected. Only a handful of Marines go down, and that's a fairly good trade. Marines for lurkers, always gonna be pretty damn good. Ah, the medevac! It had Marines, it died. I do think he wants to stay at about 4 medevacs. 4 is kind of the sweet spot in any matchup, actually. If you are desperate to balance your air, 4 is the bare minimum for medevacs, right? He's trying to get to a 5th base, a 6th base, I can count. A 6th base, but the hatchery's already there. Dark has so much creep spread, he has so many bases, and he's on 106 workers, which does make his army a little bit weaker, but he finds the tanks on siege, he finds the ghosts unprepared to snipe, and despite having a much, drastically less army supply, I mean, Time was not prepared for that, and Time doesn't have all of his army supply on the front lines either at any given moment with how many tanks he spread around, so keep that in mind every time they engage. But it is definitely a lot different once the ghosts can actually snipe, once the liberators are sieged, once the tanks see this coming. Those battles should shift in the time's favor, since Dark's going to be down about 30 armor supply at any given event. Eventually, I think Dark will give away about 10, 20 drones, but we're not there yet. We're not there. He wants an even bigger bank than he has before he actually sacrifices drones. He might even just wait until they kind of naturally die off, right? Not of old age, which would be a funny mechanic if it existed in StarCraft, but of just, you know, a drop or liberator harassment or something. Or build side defense. Yeah, there you go. That works out as well. Hatchery finally goes down. Take a little while for the creep spread to recede, but it eventually will. No creep tumors over here. That is a big attack. Lots of lings, once again, making things a little bit more difficult for the ghosts. They can't get their snipes off if they're even so much as sneezed at. But eventually, they do get their snipes. Eventually, the liberators do siege up, and eventually, time does push this back. Okay, since people are talking about it. So when I was like, what is the building armor upgrade called? People were like, well, it combined with Neo Steel frames. Yes, I know that. But they still had two different names. They weren't both called Neo Steel frames. Anyways. Ghosts try and cloak up to save the day, but there are overseers. Well, not anymore. There were enough overseers to hit some of those ghosts. The main problem, really, for the Zerg at that point is that the Banelings, while they can explode without seeing what they're exploding on and still do damage, it actually takes a lot of Banelings to kill ghosts. And Dark has only ever had, like, a handful of Banelings with these attacks. Which I don't think is incorrect, but that was one of those opportunities where if he did have 20 Banelings, it probably would have been better if the explosion would have killed all the ghosts. As it is, only a handful of them went down, really not that many. Overall, 12 have gone down. I'm gonna guess maybe 4 or 5 died there. That's my guess anyways. 19 lurkers have fallen? My god. They've been getting sniped. More creep spread, why not? But more missile turrets, why not? More everything, why not? We got the Cloaky boys with the nukes. We got the nukes. We got 3 nukes. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. My time to make it to the front page of Reddit. Snipes going down, but that is a lot of Banelings. No, not a lot of tanks. Actually, where are the tanks? There are no tanks, and that's what you need tanks for, or Widow Mines, is to take care of what is now an overwhelming number of Banelings. A good last-second split, though, is going to keep most of these ghosts alive. But without the ghosts covering the Liberators and nothing else really covering them, with the missile turrets all being destroyed, a lot of Liberators fell in that defense. It was a trade, but Dark is the richer one. Right? So even though the supplies look quite even, Time is the one that's investing more of his bank, his lesser bank, into rebuilding what is also a very expensive army. I mean, they're trading a lot of Banelings for a couple of ghosts, maybe some lurkers, as the Corruptors go on top of the Liberators. They're trading both expensive units, but just one person has a bigger bank than the other. So Time's gonna want a bit better of a trade. A bit better. He's already doing an okay job. But this is where things get really tough. Getting the next expansion is borderline impossible, actually, for Time. And it looks like he's going to have trouble defending this one. Banelings are going to happily crash into that, take care of the SCV's mules and command center. And it's an easy replacement, but since Dark didn't really... I mean, he didn't really lose a whole lot for that. I mean, yes, the Banelings are sacrificed, and that's supposed to be a lot, but Dark still has a lot of bases, still on 95 workers, and it would have been worse if it was like 20 lurkers, because if they retreated, they would have all been sniped. Instead, the Lings and Banelings retreat pretty happily, and 51 Banelings are remade to possibly do the same thing. Time has recognized he's lacking a bit of that splash damage, so he's brought some Widow Mines to the front lines. He's building a couple tanks again, but is it enough? Are these Widow Mines going to pop off or not? Oh, okay, that was a good shot right there. But are there any more? It doesn't really look that way. Once again, forced to split his ghosts, which they will soak a lot, but it's not ideal. This is where tanks are supposed to be covering you, where Widow Mines are supposed to be covering you. He's forced to unsiege his Liberators. They're going to die anyways. And Dark, he does plummet down in his own supply. And the Corruptors perhaps are going to get sniped on their retreat. But he still has more economy, more workers, better economy, more chances for a better economy too, because he has his bases up. He can just move his drones over there, where Time is like desperately hopping to each base, really needing every single mineral from each base. It used to be called structure armor. I would have never guessed that. Interesting. Well, there you go. I mean, could they have not just called it building armor? Structure armor, okay, whatever. Fancy pants. Thank you. That nuke's not gonna hit. I don't know what happened to the ghost up to the top right, by the way. I think one went there and then died. No nukes have really been hitting. He's down to 1. So 2 have been canceled. Or maybe 1 did hit, but it didn't do anything. They both get close to remaxing. But that's kind of like the only remax I feel Time... Well, maybe one more remax. But he's running low on minerals here, here, and here. He's completely out in the first 3 bases. And Dark, well, of course, he's also out in the first 3 bases. Has at least 4 bases worth of minerals, if not 6, actually, to work with. Nuke is going to hit, but it won't hit very much. More importantly, the main engagement is happening once again. Wouldn't mind seeing actually some of them not burrowed, not getting the biggest pop-offs on the Banelings. Liberators this time around are helping a bit more against the Lurkers and the Banelings, but still dying to the Corruptors. There's where the snipes come in, however. Yes, that's what Time wants. He wants Dark to not be able to retreat. And Dark, actually, finally, truly plummeting in that supply. You know, it's been kind of like leveling off for both of them, but this time Dark was actually a good 30 supply below upon his retreat. Because of all those snipes, because of all the ghosts that ended up living and actually being on the front line, still ready to engage. And that was quite pricey. That was the bit better of an engagement that I was saying Time really needed. And so that was like, what, a 15,000 resources lost? Gets increased to 20,000. Of a difference, rather. Ling's finding a non-planetary. I mean, these are cracklings, so easy to work with those SCVs. Time, how many orbitals do you have? He has 4 planetaries and 6 orbitals, so 4 to 6 workers is still fine with the mules being dropped. As I was talking about, that nuke didn't really seem to do a whole lot. It already, like, it kind of was already being killed by the tank. Dark can't quite make that same mistake, not for a little while anyways. Like, at the end of the day, he's still denying Time's expansions while getting his own expansions up and running. This one and this one. So Time is still on Dark's side, but not if he gets overeager, not if he gets impatient, really, is probably what's happening. Lurkers do speed burrow on top of those tanks. A couple of them die in the way, but all 3 tanks will fall. Marines, gonna take down 2 Lurkers before they were forced to retreat as well. Lurkers do end up kind of taking the power spot here, but oh, until the ghost showed up anyways. Just kidding. That's a lot of snipes. Oh my goodness, that was like 7 or 8 snipes on Lurkers, on Vipers, on everything. You want to also snipe the Overseers so that they don't actually have the vision on your ghosts, and if they don't have the vision, Lurkers are like tanks where their range is farther than their vision, so the ghosts would run out with their snipes. If you can do it. The Raiders siege up over here too. I might be worth for Time to mine out these minerals. I'm not actually sure. I'll think on it. I'll ponder on it further. Orbitals once again are fire. Liberators aren't even that great at defending against Lings anyways, so they try. Wouldn't mind are doing the jobs. There we go. Top right base finally goes down, and if Time, I mean, he would love to have entirely mined out this base before moving on to the right side, but he does have to think about the right side of this map, because, you know, even if he pushed here and took these bases, this is where Dark has been mining. So they're not really useful bases to take, so I think Time has to pivot to the top right and start thinking about those bases to grab, to take money away from Dark and also get his own money, right? But he's not truly pivoting. He cleans up the bottom left, gets back to mining there. That will be completely gone. I guess Dark won't be able to take it. And now he goes back into engaging in the top right. And this is, A little worrying for Dark. As long as he's had these bases, I think he's still feeling confident, but if he loses them, that's a whole other story. Couple snipes going down, a lot of lurkers already dead from the Liberators anyways. Ling Baneling trying to crash in, but Dark is not going to be able to push this back. Could Dark actually fall 2-time in the lower bracket? Seems very possible. Ghost count still very scary. Liberator still helping to cover at least some of the SCVs mining. Dark, I think realizing, he's starting to count his bases, count his minerals, is like, you know what? I don't have as much money as I wanted. I don't have as much money as I thought I did. Not if I lose these bases. He really needs to get mining on them. Time down to 36 workers, by the way, but you can either slap down mules or still work off of one base with that. Couple of abducts. Take on a couple of liberators. Vipers are usually fairly safe against the snipes because their abduct range plus their ability to run away is like, it's a micro battle. It's a micro battle, but so far the snipes have been deleting the Vipers and they are expensive beasts. This is kind of a brutal position for Dark. This is where Vipers would be excellent, but the farther they have to go to reach for the abducts, the more chances there are to be either, well, EMP'd or sniped. Looks like the bottom left has been entirely cleared up thanks to a couple of Lings. More than a couple, of course, but all it takes is Lings with full upgrades take down 2 planetaries, and of course the orbital, which I guess wasn't lifted very fast as Time was paying attention to the front lines. They are down to some of their last resources, but Time has now secured the top right. This is like the freshest base on the map. Dark barely didn't get mining to it before the hatcheries had fallen. This one's still pretty fresh too, because he's only ever been half mining from it. More Overseer is getting sniped as well. Bunch of Lings now at least denying the base from mining is, it's important, man. Time needs this base, and Dark needs it, plus needs to keep his opponent away from it. Time's also running a bit low on gas. I think he's realized that as well. These were out of gas. This was out of gas. These had gas, but he just never could, like, get the XCVs back to mining. He's always slapping down mules and trying to recover from Ling harassment. Ghost being pretty brazen, moving forward, getting the lurker snipes. The thing about lurker is that with their directional attack, right, that if you have enough ghost sniping, even in lurker range, hopefully 1 or 2 of them will still get the snipe off. I don't think he means to pick that up. Yeah, he does not mean to pick it up. Burrows on the way? Not sure exactly what Burrow is going to help at this point, and it is 100-100 out of Dark's pockets, which is kind of considerable. Oh, wow, Dark's actually not mining from that at all. I guess trying to get the most mining possible on the forward bases before retreating back to some of the safer bases that he has. This one's been mining, this one's been mining, this one has not, so hopefully he remembers that. He also takes the bottom left. There's so little, and there's also Widow Mines trying to cover it. Marines are found out, but oh my goodness, that Widow Mine reached. This Widow Mine's also going to help those Marines, and Dark is starting to dwindle here. He's down 30 supply in the army. He has workers, but they're not really mining too efficiently. They're trying to. They're getting there. This is coming down to the wire. Can Dark actually take a good enough fight? I don't know, man. 7 lurkers, 6 infestors, 3 vipers. A lot of potential in this army. but also susceptible to EMPs. This could be the final fights. Couple of abducts go down. Every last Viper gets killed for it. The missile turret's helping out alongside the snipes. I guess Burrow was just for the infestors. Which, I saw a couple being made. Didn't realize he had gone up to 6. Just slightly encroaching spore crawlers are amazing. One queen to creep spreads as well. Fantastic stuff. Command center's forced to lift off. The liberators couldn't help. But the spore crawlers getting ever closer, and I guess time doesn't want to deal with the fungals. Time is actually not mining minerals right now, guys. He's just not. He needs a scan too. These creep tumors, I think, will still block out the command center. He's gonna like land it here on Mule. It's desperation time, but Dark is now mining a little bit more. He's got the bottom left, and he could still mine from here, actually. I don't know if he's forgotten it or just is keeping it safe, like I said. Keeping it in his back pocket. But he is starting to get oversaturated. He could move drones. Time is so desperate. So desperate. He is a bit pre-spread. So the fungals aren't devastating, but oh, I need to pre-spread his ghost, more importantly. That infestor. Oh, he's gonna EMP it! Oh, Dark, you are so sick. Oh my god, I would have never thought of that. Oh my goodness, the EMP was a massive. There's only a couple of ghosts with energy right now. Dark's gonna go for it. Can he actually win with this fight? Lurkers, burrow, fungals happen. Liberator's the only thing that's really firing right now. The command center goes down, but all the ghosts are alive. They're gonna get some snipes off. Overseer's going down. Lurkers, maybe some of the infestors as well. Time is still working with a 45 army supply lead to Dark's 40. My goodness. Oh my god. This game is not over yet. I mean, it's very close to being over, but not quite. An orbital flies into a bunch of spore crawlers thinking that's going to be open, but it's not. Oh, he's got to clear the spore crawlers, right? Like, he can try to with the ghost, but I think he's afraid of fungal plus lurker. Because then he can't snipe you, get fungled. There's only one infestor left over, though. Dark spending some of his last resources on one more. Okay, he's got 2, and he's building a 3rd one. Okay. Another sneaky infestor. Doesn't have the energy for a neuroparasite quite yet. But he's looking for it. He's scanning. He's scanning in all the wrong places, though. He's just gonna get an idea of what the army looks like, and he's missing the detector right here. He's gonna do it. It's gonna happen again. It's gonna happen again. No, it's gonna happen again. Time is a little. He's a little pre-spread on his ghosts. A little bit. Okay, he's spreading a little bit more, but the EMP is massive. He's got the EMP upgrade. It's working against him right now. He's down to 6 workers, by the way, so all those scans were mules he didn't drop. Oh, wait, the infestor! The infestor! Nope. Okay. 2 lurkers will fall. Nope. Close. Nope. Nope. Lurker stopped all that snipes. The lurker. Oh my god. The lurking infestor grabs it! He goes for the EMP. He hits most of them, not all of them. And a scan did reveal a 2nd infestor. He has another scan, so 2 infestors down. But Dark has been accruing his bank behind this. He actually had mining where Time did not. Time is only on these ghosts. The Lings do get a massive shot, though. My god, the amount of Lings that just died right there makes this somewhat possible for Dark to lose this game. But I don't think it actually is. I think he eventually just wins out. But man, those Lings are supposed to be the kicker. He does have to stall a little bit. The ghost looked for the snipe, but the fungal was too good. One more fungal in Dark's back pocket. Dark is, by the way, he finally mined this base out. He's also longed his mining from the top left. Time is like, well, fuck that base. Let's go to this one. I'm fine, whatever. I'm giving it up. But if he gives up this base, it means that Dark can take it, and that is also really, really bad. What a game 3. And this is even a qualifying match, you guys. A single drop kills Dark's bottom left base, leaving about 800 minerals, it looks like, for Time to long distance mine from. There's not a whole lot of anti-air, so Time could easily pick this up. Loses a Marine, though. Loses 2 Marines. Literally cannot afford to do that. Time was so close to winning this game. Oh, a couple Hydras, actually. Oh no, a couple of Hydras. Oh no. Time was so close to winning this game, but it's not going to happen. Barely gets the lift off there. Is going to get a couple of last-second snipes, it looks like, but no, not even that. Not even that. Dark's composition. Oh, Miss Rally. Oh, Fester Hydra's going down. Time on one SCV, and it's currently repairing one of his last orbitals. He has 3 orbitals, yeah? 3 orbitals, 2 planetaries. And he needs scans. He can't mule and scan, but he needs to do both. It's impossible, this game. He tries to sacrifice, or potentially sacrifice a ghost for an EMP. It doesn't really hit, though. But the ghost didn't die either, so there is that. He needs to do it again. Oh, the snipes! He gets 1. 1 Lurker falls. Oh, the fungal! The last second split's pretty good, though. My goodness, the micro battles. What the hell is happening? Orbital is finally gonna fall. Or close to it, but that's the last SVP. Time's down to 0 workers. Oh, imagine some of these fights going a little bit better for time. You know, imagine if Dark didn't have any minerals, right? Like, this game would have gone in favor of time 5 battles ago if Dark couldn't remake units. But just with the little bit of mining he had, he was able to remake just enough units every single time. And now he's on full mining. Time actually needs to go stop that. He needs to go stop it. Marine's going to scout it, but he needs to actually stop it. No, he's not going to stop. He's going to tap out instead. GG. Dark, after 37 minutes, will advance on to face Innovation. What a silly game. It was also amazing.